Hi.
Ew.
Ooh, it's a double the fun, double the queers, am I right? Welcome to a new episode of Just Gaming Tingz. Oh my goodness. I'm Project Ruby and I'm joined by the wonderful Lotus. Hi.
Hi. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. I was gonna do that thing of like it's a day of rest, but not for me, but that's Sunday. So
Uh,
well, on this flopping day, we're bringing you an all queer perspective on video games, gaming news, and nerdy things. Um, I'm very excited. I don't think we've had like a two people podcast, or at least like not in a long time. So we should get through our news for the week fairly quickly. And we're gonna start with some with a little bit of an update. Is it like the last update on this situation or?
no, I think they appealed again because, of course, they did.
Mm.
But officially, the last update for now, TM.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, IGN basically announced the update that Activision Blizzard settled with the EEOC and will be creating an $18 million fund for their employees who were affected by harassment and sexual assault and everything. Considering the amount of employees at Activision Blizzard, seems pretty low. Considering how much the CEO of Activision Blizzard makes, seems
Right.
pretty low. Just weird. Justin McDaniel on Twitter pointed out that Call of Duty Warzone makes over $5 million every day, and that's only one of their games.
Right.
So very weird. Oh, I should mention also. You said is that the last situation or last update on this situation? This one, yes. However, several other government bodies have since sued Activision Blizzard. So, like on this lawsuit, yes, but on the situation,
Right.
no,
Oh,
not at all.
damn.
Sorry, let me be specific with that one.
Right, right, right.
But yeah,
Oh, damn. I this definitely seems like a legal slap in the wrist kind of thing where you're just kind of like, "Oh, so they're like, "Ooh, oh no, I have to pay money to get out of this situation. Oh no, what will I do? It's not like I have millions of dollars to like grab
yeah,
onto."
literally.
So like to me this doesn't seem like I don't know. I hope that they really use that money towards what they say they're going to use it for. But again, that's asking a lot out of a company that you know should have been doing those things from the get-go anyway.
Right.
So it's like one of those things where like when the mistake was people being shady behind the scenes, then you're just gonna trust that they're not gonna be shady behind the scenes because they had to pay a certain amount of money. Like, what makes you believe that they're actually gonna go through with it?
Right. It's nice that they're making this little fund, but it's also nice that in theory they have an HR department. But anyone who has worked in corporate America knows what an HR department is really supposed to do. So concern about what this fund is really gonna be doing
Right,
exactly. Like I hope they just give them the money and they just run. Just leave, just go.
right,
Make your own
literally.
studio. I don't even know. But yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, or I don't know if embarrassing is the right word. That is how legal proceedings with big companies tend to go, especially in the United States. So I can't say we didn't expect it, but again, in
Yeah.
the legendary words of Koga Jangles, whose power is out right now, disappointed but not surprised.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just a bummer. What's the phrase or the quote from I think Final Fantasy Tactics where it's
Ooh.
if the punishment for breaking the law is a fine, then that law only exists for poor people.
Oh damn. I need to finish Final Fantasy Tactics. I need to.
I could be I could be wrong about which game specifically it's from. All the Final Fantasies are just like a big ball in my
Right.
mind, except for like Final Fantasy X. So
That
take that
sounds
with a grain
correct
of salt.
though. That sounds correct
It seems like
because
something
that one
Tactics would say.
does tackle like societal things and all of that stuff. So yeah, ugh.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm
Ugh,
still, I still don't feel comfortable getting excited about like Overwatch 2 or anything of the
yeah.
sort. Um to me is always like I don't know. I think people can justify it differently, and I'm definitely not here to tell anyone how to feel about anything. But I think sometimes people are too quick to be like, "Oh, they shifted around who like is in power, and they're changing a name for a thing, and like they're paying this money, so therefore it's fine now." And it's like, I don't know if that's how that works. It's certainly how
Hmm.
not how that works in like for me. There's many other games that I can play, and that at least I don't have the knowledge of things that are going on that are shady. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
thankfully the gaming industry, there's so many games and so many studios that if you just find out that a studio is problematic, then you can just literally have a plethora of other games to play, and you'll be fine. You're not gonna go run out of games.
And yet people still make bad choices every day.
Yeah,
But we don't
imagine
have that in a
that.
story this week. Let me just sit here stewing.
Just stewing in the New World release.
Please. It feels so targeted as a Latina streamer. I'm like, no, hang on.
Hmm. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway.
Oh my god. Well, let's
Well,
let's switch around to something that's like more fun, and then we'll go back to like your story, because it's like games and then other studios and then games.
yeah.
Because I saw a little tidbit on the internet that Miss Konami is changing their ways, and they're actually going to apparently outsource studios to revive Metal Gear, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. Um, so everyone who's a stan of those games, except for Metal Gear, I feel like everybody else is like excited. The Metal Gear stans are probably like, if Kojima is not a part of that, I don't want it.
I do think the Silent Hill stands are also worried
Mm,
because of the infamous Silent Hill pachinko featuring Pyramid Head. So I think they're wary. Silent Hill has a strange history.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
trust Konami to do anything correctly, unfortunately.
right. Yeah, but like apparently they spoke to Video Game Chronicles. Hmm,
I think it's just one Chronicle.
a singular chronicle.
Mhm.
And they spoke with
Chronicle
them.
Trigger.
Yeah. And because like for a while they were very against the idea of like hiring outside sources to work on their properties, which led to them working on questionable titles for their properties. And then because of the flop results of those attempts, they decided to work first on a new Castlevania game, which is supposed to be like a reimagining. I have a really hard time with like all the different wordings that people use to describe games. I'm like, is it gonna be a remake? Is it gonna be a remaster? Is it gonna be like now everyone is coming out with reimagining? Like we heard that with
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise. That's like a reimagining of the first Final Fantasy, and I'm just like, what exactly does that mean? How close to the source are we getting?
Yeah, I think a reimagining is halfway between a remaster and a reboot, where it's not gonna change anything about the series, and theoretically, other remakes of the games won't, like, be drastically different. But yeah, I don't know, it's kind of weird. At this point, it feels like in order to make money, they're like, "Reboots and remasters aren't doing it. We have to make AUs of our own universes." Like, it's really confusing. I don't entirely understand it either.
Yeah. I just needed to be specific, because like for at least with Stranger of Paradise, I we know what the attempt is. Final Fantasy 1 isn't really like super story rich, so it makes sense that they would be like, it's like Final Fantasy 1, but the gameplay is completely different, and also the story is definitely completely different. So it's not a remake though for some reason. So it's like yeah, I don't know.
They wanna sound cool, you know? It's
Yeah.
the old video games thing of trying to, like, have filmic prestige, like, "No, no, no, it's not a remake, it's a reimagining."
Right. Like
I think I was
Kojima being
talking
like,
too
I don't like
quietly
the
for my
wording
message.
director's cut. And you're like, okay, so what wording are
Ugh,
you gonna use then? Okay.
literally. I don't know. I think it's a little weird, especially for Castlevania. I thought about this too, when they announced Metroid Dread was finally coming out. And like that's exciting, but indie games have been making the best Metroidvanias for like 10 years at this point. So it feels kind of weird to
Right.
throw your hat back into the ring, especially because I feel like it's a genre that doesn't entirely benefit from having like a really big budget. Open world, like cinematic games, yeah. But I mean, you're competing with Hollow Knight, honey, so you better bring it.
And even with Castlevania, there was I forget the name of the series, but there was I think it was also an indie studio that was making a Castlevania esque game, and people like loved it. So it's
Yes, I always
interesting.
forget what it's called.
Yeah, it's interesting that now like these series existed. They were like a lot of gamers that turned into developers as childhoods. And then those games kind of either declined in quality or they stopped making them. And then those people that grew up with them started making better versions or good as just as good of versions, I guess. And now like they're bringing back the series, and now they have to compete with like the new people. Like it's very interesting
Yeah.
to see that.
They haven't I'm just not sure if they've grown enough to genuinely compete, and that'll be the kicker, I don't know. Oh, it's
Yeah,
called Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I don't know
there you go.
that it's like a pretty easy name to remember, but I always forget it, I don't know why.
I don't know. I'm every time I think Castlevania or anything of the sort, I'm just like blood, symphony, the night, the
Yeah.
moon. I'm like, who, where? Somewhere in his powerless room, Koga's fuming about this
No.
Castlevania talk.
Sorry, Koga.
Sorry, Koga. Oh my god. But yeah, are you excited for any of these particular series to make a comeback, a reimagined, remastered, remixed Roman holiday moment?
No. No. Yeah, again, I just feel like as franchises, they've kind of been lapped by other people, and some of them I think kind of only exist well in the time period they came out. Everyone says that Silent Hill 2 is a classic, and I agree, and that game doesn't really work on things that aren't the PS2. I know that people really liked PT, but, eh, I just like, I don't see how necessarily similar to Breath of the Wild, it doesn't really need to be the same franchise. At this point, we're just attaching names to things 'cause, we
Yeah,
want to.
yeah.
So
Would there
also
be
it's Konami.
any series that you would be excited for to if you read the headline that was like this series is gonna get a reimagination. It's coming back. I don't know.
I don't know. The only way I can think of that is, what would you say? Like games that had a lot of trouble in development that wasn't necessarily their fault. But even then, a lot of the kind of classics that we know about that kind of fall into that are better because of the restraints that they had. Like I firmly believe that Majora's Mask is a better game because it had to be made under a time constraint. Fallout New Vegas, despite being buggy as shit, is so much better written because they had to make it on a time constraint. Um, we like to think of Sega games. What is, Nights into Dreams, I
Mm-hmm.
think is its name?
That sounds
That would
right.
be nice because that was jank as fuck. So, like, it'd be nice, but I also don't know how well they'd be able to do it. I think Sega, especially Sega's Sonic division, has not proven to be super capable of overseeing projects.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think they turned that series into like a VR experience now. Like you get to
oh,
be like
that seems like it would make you vomit.
yeah, I because they did the same thing with Space Channel 5. They turned it into a
Oh,
VR
hmm,
moment, and I think it's like
how interesting.
PS5 VR or PSVR, excuse me. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with their series. I don't love it. They need to do what they did with Sonic Mania and just like see what fans are doing and just hire them and like
Right,
do that
yeah.
because it worked so well for Sonic Mania.
Oh,
Um,
actually, I do have a real answer, but it'll never happen, and I just need to make that clear. It's Mother 3, of course.
well,
It's not gonna happen, but, like, it was originally supposed to be on the N64 in, like, full 3D, right? So, in the good universe, in the timeline where God hasn't abandoned us, there would be a remaster in a Link's Awakening DX style where they're all kind of like clay toy figures and it's in English,
aw,
but,
you never know. You never know. Listen, 2020 and
I'm not
2021
holding my
have
breath,
been,
let's put
yeah,
it that way.
that's valid. That's valid. I'm gonna take this opportunity to remind everybody that Sailor Moon games used to exist and we need them back. Thank you very much. That's it. That's the tweet.
Oh, how about, all the Power Rangers fans who've been loving Power Rangers, Battle for the Grid, I think it's called. It's a 2D fighting game, or not 2D, 2.5D, like Mortal Kombat style.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some guests. Let's get the Sailor Moon girlies in there.
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like they do it. Those devs are cool.
I just want Sailor Moon to have a game.
Mhm.
It's been a while, and I think they could make like, I think there's so many directions they could go with it. They could go with like a Naruto Ninja Storm situation where it's like you would get the city of like Tokyo and you would like roam around and you could like fly around and you
Mhm.
can do like quests around it and like story things, or
Or
you could
Marvel
do,
Spider-Man.
yeah, or you could do a situation like the Ninja Turtle game that's gonna come out, that's kind of like in those old school style, like Genesis type of style, and bring that back. I'm okay with either. There was also like an SNES RPG that never came out over here. I've played a bit of the fan translation. It's like a turn-based Sailor Moon game. Um,
Mhm.
and it's very interesting. So I don't know. I just want a Sailor Moon game at this point. I'm just desperate. I took the opportunity when I saw it. Listen, I'm gonna need to manifest it. But yeah, you have another studio related story to share with us on this day.
Yeah, a much nicer one.
Yeah,
This is something
hopefully.
that we've seen. Well, yeah, I guess we don't know yet, but something we've been seeing a lot more lately is indies really kind of trying to take advantage of the fact that everyone is fucking sick of AAA at this point and being like, we need to bring back that kind of early 2000s style where games were being published where if you wanted to make a game you would just do it and make a little collective with your buddies. So Kepler Interactive has been announced. It is a game publisher co-owned and run by the developers whose games it will be publishing. And yeah, it is about pooling resources between developers. Obviously, the thing about games is your investment is really delayed, right? Games take years to make. You put all this money into them, and you won't see any of that money until the game is out for
Right.
like a while. So, it's going to be with A44 Games, who made Ashen, Alpha Channel, who is currently making Tankhead, the developers who are making Tsuchiya. I am not sure if that's a correct pronunciation. Their studio is spelled AWACEB, you know, Ebb
Mm-hmm.
Software, who is making Scorn, Shape Farm, who I don't know what games they've made. Actually, I tried to look it up. It seems like they've worked on other studios' games, but I don't believe they've made one themselves. Slowclap, who made Absolver, and Timberline Games, who made the Red Lantern, that dog sled game. So yeah, all of them have come together and they will be helping one another publish things. I assume that also like behind the scenes they will be sharing their expertise among one another, which is nice to see. Nice to
Mm-hmm.
see developers being able to not necessarily self-publish, but be published in a way that will be good for the developers instead of just for the publisher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do we think this is like the future? Like more devs are gonna be like, "Hey, you're cool. Do you want to team up? We can publish our games together. We can just take turns publishing
I
games."
I do for sure. Like, earlier this year during E3, we saw Virtuoso Neo Media announced during the Glitch Direct, and that is not the same thing, but a pretty similar thing. A lot of very small indie devs who have mostly worked in like teams of one or two who have banded together and they're like, we can make things together. I think people are realizing that we have to support each other, like not only in general, but in the indie space working as a solo developer for long periods of time is just not going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe for your first few games, maybe if you exclusively focus on making very short games, or if you have another job at the same time, but full-time development alone is not really the wave.
Yeah. I think a cool thing as well that could come from it is the fact that the gaming market is so saturated that they could actually make it so that they're not actively competing against each other, and they can, because
Yes.
you know what I mean, like they're the publishers, they can kind of time it out and be like, okay, so this project we're going to work on this, and then with the money from that we'll fund the next one that we're going to publish, and so on and so forth, so that everyone is employed, everyone has, a goal, and everyone, they're not like competing against each other as they would if they were each on their own. So I think that's very cool as like a new
Yeah.
direction for indie studios to work
Yeah, I definitely
together.
hope more do it.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Especially if certain games could, ask for certain like crossovers. That could be really interesting as well to see. Since it's
Oh,
all
yes.
published by the same people, they could be like, oh, here's a little incentive if you like the game that we released earlier this year. that could be
Yeah, I
that
mean,
could be
I wouldn't be
fun.
surprised if there were, like, costumes or like, maybe even just little Easter eggs. They know that they can. We saw that a lot with, Hat Kid from A Hat in Time popped up in a lot of other games because I guess the developers were chill with it, so
Iconic. We love to see it. Well, from indie to AAA, we couldn't get
Oh,
more
no.
AAA than this. There are yet again more rumors of a Nintendo Switch 4K coming out because Bloomberg was basically, they announced, or they said that the dev kits were circulating, but some
Mhm.
devs have denied it. So it's very interesting how that's kind of panning out. But of course, this Nintendo Switch 4K rumor has been basically existing since the Nintendo Switch came out because of how behind it is in comparison to the other AAA consoles. So, yeah, apparently people from 11 different companies said that their teams have a dev kit for the new Switch, which I hope that they name it the Super Nintendo Switch. I got that from Twitter. I thought that would be cute. But regardless, uh, Zynga has denied that they own one, and that's kind of one of the things that has me interested in this discussion, because like obviously it's I feel like the rumors are always going to be around, and obviously it's not coming out anytime soon because the OLED one I don't think is out yet, right? Or is it just recently released? I don't even know.
I'm the wrong person to ask about
Right.
which Nintendo Switch is
Uh,
out.
yeah. So the oh yeah, it's coming out in like a few days, basically on the 8th of October. So, um, obviously it's not coming out anytime soon. I don't know if next year will be it either because of all the,
Mhm.
manufacturing issues that there've been with, like, manufacturing consoles and stuff like that, with the chips missing and all that shit. Um so, but do you think that Zynga denying it means that there's less of a chance that this is real, or do you think that Nintendo is just yelling at them being like, who's leaking shit? Y'all better deny it right this second.
I mean, I feel like there's so much red tape in this situation, it's really difficult to tell what's actually going on, but
Right.
I think I said this last time when we were talking about the OLED models. I also think it's annoying that, like, Nintendo from the jump has said, "We are not going to make a 4K model. It doesn't make sense." And I was like, "Of course it doesn't make sense. The Nintendo Switch is the budget family console. It's just supposed to run well for not $500." And people like, "I can smell it in the air. There's a Nintendo Switch 4K." I'm kind of over it. Stop bothering these poor developers and making them put out statements so Mr. Nintendo doesn't fucking fire them.
Right.
Like, it is possible, yeah, that the OLED was supposed to be 4K and then the shortage came in and they were like, "Oh, we can't even like sell this for a profit." Of course, it's possible, but And then I guess I'm also cynical in the sense that I'm like, I wouldn't want a 4K Switch.
Hmm.
You know, it's only ever gonna run in 4K on a TV, and I don't have a 4K TV. So
Same.
I'd have to buy a new Switch and buy a new TV. Like, I feel like there's such a small market that if I was a Nintendo business person, I'd be like, "No, we're not gonna make it. What are you talking about?"
Right. I think for me, it's
It's
more the
crazy.
implications, and I think we are getting to a point where like the newest, flashiest Nintendo Switch games are starting to
Mhm.
look a bit questionable. Like you know what I mean? Like more and more, like the new like Pokemon game, like the open world game. Like they put out screenshots, and I could have sworn it was like someone like taking screenshots to be like, oh my god, look at this, and it was literally the official page, and I was like, oh, y'all are showing
Mhm.
this off, like, and people in the comments too were like, y'all, I don't think this is as big of a flex as y'all think it is. Like this
Yeah,
looks
no.
ugly, mama. So I think it makes sense in people's French vanilla fantasy that if like the games are starting to look uglier, it means that surely Nintendo has a way for games to look prettier in the future. um I hope that whatever new Nintendo Switch comes out, whether it's in a year or in 3 to 5 years, I hope that it's backwards compatible and that whatever games we can play
Oof,
on the
yeah.
Switch, we can play over there. Because I certainly do not want to buy everything again. Um, so that's kind of the only thing that I worry about. Like I don't rush the new Switch if it means that I'll have to buy a new one in order to play the games that I have or any new ones or whatever. But yeah, I'm also kind of with you on that. Like I don't really I'm kind of like let them announce it whenever they want to announce it. But at the same time, I don't know. I think gamers also like that drama of like a dev saying it's not gonna happen, then being like, surely that's not true because they alluded to something else, and I'm like, I don't know, girlies.
Y'all spent too much time with Square Enix, and the only reason they announce anything is because they've gone bankrupt again. So, like, get into that, and it's not happening with Nintendo. Well, it's true. Like, this isn't even me being haha funny. Square Enix is like, we're never gonna do Final Fantasy VII Remake. Square Enix goes bankrupt. We're doing Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Right.
Like they know what they're doing. I do think Nintendo, other than Xbox, of course, is I have a little more faith in them to make it backwards compatible. With the obviously you have the Wii and the GameCube, and then you have the Wii U, which was a complete and total flop. So I feel like they've at least kind of learned their lesson in that respect. Um,
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully. I don't think that the Switch needs 4K because all of the visual issues aren't gonna be fixed by 4K, like, that's just what the textures look like. I think
Mm-hmm.
if they can just get it more processing power, and I don't know if that's possible, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think at least with me when I'm like, oh, a Nintendo 4K, a Switch 4K, that's what I think about. Like I don't think about like, oh, the new resolution. I think like, oh, it's gonna run better. Like they're not gonna just have it be 4K. Like they should have it
Right.
be so they can make better games. The games can run better. All of that fun stuff. So, but yeah, it's gonna be difficult to predict that too because of all the chip shortage situation
Mhm.
um going on, and y'all can thank the the cryptocurrencies and the NFTs, all that shit. Ugh.
Die challenge.
Oh my god. I was so completely off topic. I was so sad when I saw the Lil Nas X is partaking in that.
Yeah.
Ugh. I was
I
like,
mean,
TikTok
he
NFTs? Really?
out of all things, the writing was on the wall when he said he made Industry Baby as like a fuck you, and it's like, is that a good thing?
Well.
Yeah.
Oh well. I hope for the best when it comes to, because I'm never like not rooting for anyone as far as like
Yeah.
games and even like Activision Blizzard. At the end of the day, I'm like, I just want them to get their shit together so that everyone can enjoy as many games as possible. So with Nintendo, I'm definitely on the side of like, I hope that they get their shit together. I hope that,
Yeah.
yeah, because I do really want to get excited for like their games and stuff like that. But as far as like oh, if I can play that game on my PC, I will definitely play that game on my PC. Like I'm not a handheld kind of girly, so I'm like, I'll play it on my PC. I'm fine with that. Like, I don't need to play it on the
Hmm.
Switch, unless it's an exclusive and I absolutely have to.
Yeah,
So,
like at this point too, this is only tangential, but with how big phones are getting and the fact that you need a phone, like Genshin Impact is not a good game, but it can run on a phone. So at this point, I'm like, just put Pokemon on my phone. Like I just stop making consoles, just put it on my phone. If I want a
yeah,
handheld game, put it on my cell phone.
thank you. I've been saying that. Like, the new handhelds are your
Look
phones.
how big
Like,
my phone is.
right?
It's
Like,
big.
we can run games on our phones. It's fine. Like, we don't need
Mhm.
that's why that's I think I said it recently in a different podcast episode that like that's why we don't have like a Vita anymore, or like Xbox is not like working their asses off to make like handhelds or anything like that. Like, you can just put shit on your phone.
Right.
Um if there's a Nintendo Switch Online phone app and you could at least do that, that would be really fierce. Starting with NES, SNES, and then moving on to N64, all that fun stuff. Give it to me. I want it.
I mean, NES and SNES you can definitely do because back in high school when people first were like getting like nice smartphones, everyone was getting an Android specifically so they didn't have to jailbreak it so they could download Pokemon on it in my school.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential for cell phones based on certain pieces of software that can be used and utilized on smartphones. We can say that. A lot of potential for sure. Yeah, so that's basically it for what's going on this week as far as games, because the like TGS I think is still going on. So like, there's no point in being like TGS and then next week TGS and all that stuff, all
Right,
that.
yeah.
So we might
Just
as
do
well
one big
just
roundup.
yeah, we might as well just talk about our highlights at the end of it all. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of it isn't going to be like reveals. It's mainly going to be extended trailers, and
Mhm.
things like that. So yeah, we'll definitely keep our eyes out for that though, because I've already seen the cute little Square Enix extended trailers, and I'm like, I want some triangle strategy in my life. Give it to me.
I can't believe that that's the real name. I thought
I
that was a
know.
joke. They said this is Project Triangle Strategy, and I said, "Hey, that's kind of fun. Like it's kind of it's just a lot of nouns.
Working
That's
title.
fun." Yeah, working title. And then people on Twitter were like, "Haha, I can't believe it's the real name." And I was like, "You guys are so funny."
Yeah, they
And
just
then
got rid of project and they just made it the name, and I still can't believe it. Y'all still have time to change it.
I mean, even
Please.
like it sounds worse without project in the front.
Yeah.
Like not even as a working title, as a title as a whole. Project Triangle Strategy sounds kind of cool,
Yeah,
but just
right.
Triangle Strategy, I'm like, okay,
There's something about a Square Enix game only having like two words in it that doesn't sound right. You know what I mean? Like, with Final
yeah. You need
Fantasy, there's
10.
like a number now in front of it, so it's okay. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I feel like Project Triangle Strategy is perfect, especially because triangle, three sides, three words.
Hey, a triangle is the strongest shape. What's so funny? It's true.
I just know exactly what video you're referencing.
um, I'm a math magician. I'll have you know. I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, are you not quoting? Because
No, no, it's
Trixie literally said
not.
that to Katya at some point. She's like, triangle is the strongest shape.
Oh, that's so funny. No, but that's true. That's why triangles are used a lot when designing bridges.
Iconic. The more we know, the more we
The
know.
more you know. The only gay person you know who knows how to do math is on this podcast today.
We have Dex in chat as well, so we
Oh,
can.
that's true. Dex is our other math gay.
Yeah, both of you are the math gays and the not anti Nintendo, but close enough. Y'all
You
are
could just
the
call us haters. Not necessarily anti
no,
Nintendo, but just haters in general, kind of.
no. You're just not Nintendo clowns. You're just I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I'm not giving them money for games I already bought, but I'm also, and but I don't hate them. But y'all are like, no, I'm not doing that. Nintendo isn't great. And then we have the other hosts who shall not be named, who put their clown makeup on every time there's a new Nintendo release or a port of any kind, and they're like, I wonder why they keep doing this to me. I don't know why.
Don't drag them. They're not here to defend themselves.
It's okay because I didn't say their names, right? It's fine. It's fine. We've talked about this with them. It's okay. It's okay.
I guess that's true.
They've
They are
admitted.
self-proclaimed
Yeah,
clowns.
they know that they're clowns. I'm a clown. Um, y'all, let's talk about what we've been playing because we kind of ran out of time last week, so I really wanted to talk about the card game TM that came out, whose name I can't remember right now off the top of my head. But during the latest Nintendo, speaking of Nintendo, the latest Nintendo Direct, there was a new Square Enix game that got announced called oh my god, what is it called? Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. Now that's a juicy name. Now that's a juicy name. It's a game that's all played in like a tabletop type of situation, and it's all cards. I found it, so I have some notes. The main thing that I thought was really odd at first, but then I grew to like it, was like there's only one narrator, and everything is voiced but by this one character. And at first I was like, this is kind
Oh.
of like my initial thought was like, this is such a lazy thing for them to not hire more
This
voice
is so
actors to
fucking
voice,
budget.
right? This is so fucking budget. But then like, because the game is like, you can literally see a table and you can see like them setting the cards like for every level or for every location. It made it feel like, and it's a very like odd, like audio centric situation. Like they warn you at the beginning, like, feel free to play this with your headphones if you would like. Everything is subtitled, so you don't have to worry about missing anything in case you don't want to play with audio on, but it's a better experience with audio turned on. And it really is, because like you hear like ambient sounds, like the narrator is describing like someone walking into a room and you hear the footsteps, and like it's just very like, it feels like you're in a dim location with someone and like they're just guiding you through this game, and it's like it's very cool. I found that really cool. um I there was a situation where I thought I had like a choice that I could make. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I can make a choice here. Like I can ask one of these three questions." And then I asked that question, and then the game prompted me to ask the other two anyway, and I couldn't get out of that menu.
Uh,
So I was like, "Oh, okay, work." Um, so yeah, I already talked about the audio being very immersive. It's very straightforward. Like each card has like the stats for like attack, defense, and then how much damage you make, and then like you have different cards associated with like your abilities and stuff like that. There's the little gems. It's like very simple to get through, and the demo is literally the tutorial stage and like the first dungeon. So you will
Love
get a,
that.
yeah, right. You will get a perfect notion of what the game is about. Um, I didn't love that. So, okay, I love this feature. I didn't love what they did with it with one character. So, like, as you talk to NPCs, the game is like, you've unlocked so and so story, which at first I thought that meant like maybe we can do like a side quest with them or something. But all that means is like, as you meet people in the game, there's actually a collection of cards that you keep. And then as you click on those cards, it's almost like a Pokédex. Like, they give you like a fun fact about the character. And
Oh.
then like if you turn the card over, it says like wait until release for this. So I don't know if there's gonna be more stuff, like if you interact more with that character, that you unlock more lore about them or whatever. But one of the characters literally, they just very casually throw like mentions of like the person getting abused. um
Oh.
yeah, like the card was literally like, every morning she has to take her husband's abuse, and every morning she's like, she like is a very smiley woman or whatever. And I was like, I don't, like, verbatim that's part of the descriptor, and I was like, I don't know
There's
about this.
different ways to say or imply this.
Yeah, because like I'm pretty sure the way that you meet this character is like, she's like on the floor or something like that, and something happened, and I was like, oh, what happened? Is everything okay? And then like you read that and you're like, I don't I don't like this. I don't like the implications of this.
Hmm.
I don't like anything about this. So there's that. Just, casual mentions of abuse, just thrown out without any warning whatsoever. The one cool thing about it that I did like was when you're in the world map, sometimes like they prompt you to roll the dice, and like something will happen based on that. So like you find a chest and it's like you roll the dice, and because I rolled high, I got like a good item. So I wonder if that was like tutorial prompted, or if in the future, or if in the actual game when it comes out, different things can happen. I haven't tried replaying the demo because I don't want to play like the first level of something over and over again.
Right, right.
So I'm actually excited. The game comes out soonish. I think it's supposed to come out in late October. So I'm excited for it. If I can snatch a code for it, I'll definitely like stream it and give it my in-depth thoughts about it. I'm kind of in that mindset these days. I'm like, if I can't snatch a code for it, I'll play other games because I
Right.
backlogs from hell. I can't do it. So that's where I am. I recently also played the Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania game, and that was provided to me by Sega Atlas. So thank you for that. Ooh. I only played demos growing up for that, but I always was very intrigued by Super Monkey Ball. I thought it was like super colorful, super fun. So I was like very excited when they announced this because I heard that the latest few Super Monkey Balls were definitely, let's just say, not the best in terms of quality in comparison to like the classiques. At least that's what I heard. So I was excited to hear like the classics were kind of coming back, and basically Banana Mania is a remake slash remaster of the first two Super Monkey Ball games. It includes like the deluxe version. You can like unlock it with in-game currency. They also have like extra characters from characters that got introduced like in later versions, not versions, in later titles for Super Monkey Ball. And then new ones, like they have Sonic, they have Tails, they have Kiryu from Yakuza, they have Morgana from Persona 5. They also have fun little DLC ones like Hello Kitty out of all characters. I was like, oh, Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty. Um, so she's going to be there. I probably missed a few, but it's really cute.
You missed my boy Beat from Jet Set Radio. Thank
Yes, and I
you.
played as him. I played as him.
I saw
And
you.
the cute thing about it too is like, so the game is basically like a little speedrun session. You have to tilt the levels because your character is in a little ball, so you have to make sure that you get to the finish line. Some of the levels are very challenging, but they have and I don't know if this is a new feature. I think it is, where if you fail a few times, the game prompts you to turn on like assisted mode. So like they will show you like little arrows on where you should go, and like you can press R1 to slow down the game as well, so you can do things in slow motion. And you can just fully skip the level. So that's a thing that I thought was really cool for like a game that was challenging in the early 2000s, that now in 2021 we can have that accessibility option of like, is this level annoying you? You can just fully skip it. Like even like you don't have to be prompted for it either. You just press start and you can just like mark it as cleared, and that's done. And I literally did that one or two times on stream as I was doing it because I was like, I'm tired. I don't know how to do it. This is difficult. Um, but I thought it was nice. Oh, they also replaced the announcer. I think
Oh yeah.
there was some controversy about the announcer from like the original, and they replaced. I think there was a guy as the announcer, and now it's a girly, the announcer, and like she tells you like fall out, and I'm like, I know, I saw myself fall off the level. Um, but people are saying that they only replaced him because he was alluding that they were making a new Super Monkey Ball game, and not because of the accusations or whatever was going on with him. So like, who knows with like Sega with whatever was going on. But regardless, I had a
Hmm.
really good time. I played for about 2 hours so far, and I think you can get a pretty good gist of Super Monkey Ball from like 2 hours of gameplay. And I'm definitely excited. I already wanted to play it off stream a couple times because I was like, this is just fun, colorful. The soundtrack is cute. The game can be frustrating, but you can just skip it if you're not there for the drama. You can play as all these different characters. You can customize your characters. You can't customize the guest characters though. That's the only flaw that I saw. Is like I was like, oh, let me get this little nightcap, and I couldn't use it on Sonic. You can only use it on like the
Mm.
original Monkey Ball characters. Um, so that was a little disappointing. On the upside, when you play as a guest character, they replace the bananas with things that are related to that character. So if you play as Sonic or
Yes.
Tails, you collect rings instead of bananas. If you play as Beat, you collect the little spray cans. If you play as Curio, you collect the little power ups that I didn't know what they were. I was like, are these pills? I was like, what is this? I've never played Yakuza, so I was like, what is this? What am I collecting? Is this go-go juice? Um, but I thought it was really a cute little gesture. If Sega, if you're listening, if you want to add new characters, you should add Ulala from
Hmm.
Space Channel 5. She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Come on
Now,
now.
come on now.
I think that's basically it for what I've been playing. What about you, Lotus?
I've been playing a few different games as per
Yes.
usual.
As you do, yeah.
I'll do a quick one first. I've been playing a game called The Gardener and the Wild Vines. It is an indie game. It's just nice to see South Asian queer representation. You play as a little gardener, royal gardener, and basically the prince who you've fallen in love with has been taken away by the evil like court magician. And very classic video game style, you are climbing increasingly difficult towers, and every time you're like, I hope the prince is here. Your prince is in another tower.
Oh well.
You do get to meet him a couple of times and talk to him though before he's like whisked away. And there's another sort of character who's the knight, and she's pretty cool. She rapidly becomes jaded towards like the cause of defending the kingdom, and the prince is trying to run a revolution and end the monarchy. And while that's all mostly like backdrop, like this is a combo based platformer, which is very generous and very accessible. I think it's not the kind of thing where you have to like really try hard to get through all the levels and like break your thumbs on your joysticks.
Right.
It's just sweet. It's really well written, and it's just a nice game. It's gorgeous too. It has this really odd, like 3D, but all the characters are 2D, moving on a 3D plane kind of style. It's just
Hmm.
really fun. I love it. So
Cute.
yeah, I've really been enjoying that. Highly recommend it. It's like $10 or something. So like I definitely get it. The big thing I've been playing lately is Sable, which if you have heard me talk about indie games for the past 2.5 years, I have been waiting for Sable to come out,
Yes.
like with the big breath, and I love it so far. It is gorgeous, like jaw-droppingly gorgeous. You
Mm-hmm.
know, graphics are temporary, but style is forever. It is all this
That's a
this
great way to put
beautiful,
it.
yeah, it's all this beautiful Mobius style, and it's kind of uh, I don't know if I'd call it meditative, but it's a very quiet, unguided, open world exploration. You're on this kind of like desert planet that the game implies a couple of times that your people came here like in giant spaceships and then they all crashed. I've only seen little tidbits so far, but I just love it. I was saying while I was playing the other day that I really like it when compared to other open world games, and especially like Breath of the Wild is what people are immediately comparing it to, right? Because you have a mount to get around the world, and there's a lot of climbing. There's a stamina bar for climbing. There's gliding. So people are like, "Hoo-hoo, Breath of the
I
Desert,"
can't
whatever.
stand that. I
I
hate that.
I can't stand it either. I do think that if you like the exploration part of Breath of the Wild, you will really like this. Maybe even more because I'm someone who bounced really hard off of Breath of the Wild because in that game, there is combat, but it's really basic. You'll get bored of it really quickly. The puzzles are really easy in that game. And so it feels like the reward for exploring in Breath of the Wild is just that you enjoy the exploration, which I think is a totally valid point. But I've played Zelda games before, so I know what I'm going to see before I get there. I'm
Oh.
in the desert. It's the Gerudo. I'm on a mountain. It's the Gorons, the water. It's the Zora. Oh, I'm going to a forest. Well, I'm ready to see the Kokiri and the Great Deku Tree. It's like the game may be beautiful, but I'm not surprised whenever I explore and find something. In Sable, I am surprised. Like every single time, I've just been like gliding around and just going to whatever finds my fancy. from like giant spaceships to I just found this observatory that you can actually like interact with. There's like petrified forests and like weird people hanging around. That sounds
Oh.
weird out of context, but it's just like other people on their journeys, and sometimes they're the weirdest fucking people you have ever met. I climbed like this giant spire, like covered with like big lizard bones, like dragon bones or something. And there were these people up here who were like, "We found these big abandoned bird thingies, so we just rebuilt them, so all the birds are back, and we're picking up all the bird shit and selling it." And I was like,
I
"What?" They didn't say it like that, but they were like, "I'm just picking up the bird excrements. It may be disgusting, but it is profitable." And I said, "What?
not
What does
that.
it do?
Not
What do you
that.
do with it?"
I hate it.
Yeah, so yeah, I love Sable so far. It is kind of glitchy on occasion. It does have some UI issues. I am playing the PC version bought from the Microsoft Store, and I've had pretty minor issues. I have heard that the PC version from Xbox Game Pass is glitchy as fuck. So just keep that in mind. Maybe wait for a couple
Such a
patches if
weird
you are
little
insistent on Game
thing.
Pass. I mean, the Xbox app on PC is horrible, so like I can see why, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I also started the Outer Wilds DLC, Echoes of the Eye. I really like it so far. Outer Wilds, I'm not gonna pretend to not be a fan. I think it's one of the best games ever made. It's either my favorite game of all time or my second favorite game of all time. It really is
Iconic.
wonderful. Yeah, it is, I haven't gotten too far into it, because I was stuck for quite some time because I was, like, just brain not working completely, but it's a lot spookier than the base game, and Outer Wilds had some pretty spooky shit in it, but this feels like it's deliberately trying to unnerve you. You know, a lot of Outer Wilds, the scariness comes from being in dark, enclosed spaces where you know that, like, you're all alone and you could run out of oxygen because 'cause you're in space.
Well,
And, Echoes of the Eye, moreover, implies that there are other living creatures around, and they may not be happy if they find you, but you don't know if they're there.
well.
It's very that, and it's spooky, and I like it, but I'm not too far into
Ooh.
that. I love being scared. If you're faint of heart, Outer Wilds in general may not be for you, but I love sci-fi and I love being scared, so it's like whenever I got to the scary parts, I was like, "Yes, yes, yes!" Like, "Let's fucking go." It's like you got a roller coaster.
Give it to
Uh,
me.
yes, give it to me right now. Yeah, other than that, I've been doing a lot of demos, but, I've been playing too many to be like, "I played this, and then I played this, and then I played this." Like, I've played, like,
Right.
10 so far, and I have, like, 20 more to play, so I'll write something about them and put that out. And that'll be
Yes.
its own thing.
Any recent ones that may have stood out to you that you may want to give a shout out to?
I played this was so goofy. This was very it was, like, the definition of, like, video game camp called
Oh,
Terror of Hemosaurus. It's very if anyone knows the series Rampage Total Destruction, it definitely felt inspired by that. You basically play as Hemosaurus, who is definitely not Godzilla, no relation whatsoever, shut up. And you destroy things, but the reason you destroy things, is because a cult I think they're called the Cult of the Lizard God. Not exactly that phrasing, but, their mission is to stop climate change. And so they said, "You know what? No one's caring. Obviously, climate change is happening, but no one's caring. No one's stopping it. You know why? It's because the human brain is hardwired to only care about dangers in the exact present. So, everything we're gonna do is to work to make a time machine. And then, once lizards are roaming the earth, we're gonna send one back to destroy entire cities so that people will be worried about a danger in the present."
well,
so, so you play as Hemosaurus, and it's like it's just a good time. It's a very like, you know, kind of like SNES styled, but fresh coat of paint, fully modern. The music's great. It's if you just want to destroy a city, you just get that good carnage. You can throw people, kick people, throw cars into helicopters, destroy buildings. It's like it's pixel gory, like there's pixel blood and pixel skeletons and stuff. But I think that even if you're kind of averse to that, you'll probably be okay. Maybe watch a trailer. But yeah, I just had a blast. It was so goofy. It's like the humor was really on point with, like, the priest telling you, You know, children are the future. That's why we have a child outreach program because they are our most valuable resource. For example, if you pick them up, you can throw them at ranged enemies or enemies in the air. Like,
I
I was just losing it. It was too funny. So check out the Hemosaurus demo if you want to have a good time.
There you go. Iconic. And that's basically it for our podcast today. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
joining us. If you made it this far, definitely feel free to like, subscribe, follow all that fun stuff in whatever platform you're watching and or listening to us in. Um, Before we go really quickly though, where can people find you and any upcoming things that you want to promote?
You can find me at Lotus Loves Lotus on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Patreon. All my stuff on Patreon is like free to view, but that is where I'll be posting like all the demos that I've played and liked. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I guess that's the thing that I'm looking forward to. Steam Next Fest is going on right now, so for the next week, I will be toiling in the demo mines to bring y'all what's good.
Yes, and we'll definitely hear from you for your experience on all the demos. Teehee. Yeah, you can find me at Project Ruby, my Ko-fi. You can support me on there, get videos early, all that fun stuff. I'm gonna be doing some charity things that I don't know if I can announce yet, but soon, TM. Um, as well as I think for the foreseeable future, I'll probably just continue whatever I'm doing. So Chrono Trigger, Life is Strange, Unmetal, whatever I feel like in the moment. The other day we played Fortnite and there was no reason to it other than I just wanted to. So it happens. Um,
We're here to have fun.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely feel free to check out the rest of our hosts in the description and all that fun stuff so you can follow them. You can see what they're up to when they're not on the podcast. And yeah, we'll be back next week for more podcasting shenanigans. So bye, y'all.
Bye.
Tee